So today is a special treat. These are muffins that will be made today, and they're going to be made with a special ingredient. This ingredient is not the normal muffin ingredient. It is the beet. What I've done is I have juiced my beet, and with that I have created pulp, separated the juice from the beet. And so that's what this is. This is pulp. So I save the pulp. I drink the juice, of course, use it for all different kinds of things. And this will be the ingredient that it goes in with the flour. So first we'll start with sifting our flour. One of the standard procedures, of course, when using flour. And I have approximately 1 cup here, and I have approximately a little bit more than 1/2 a cup of the pulp here. So I want to make it 1 3/4 cups flour. So I need to add a little bit more. Okay, so that is done now, and I'm going to put it into a different bowl because I want to use my whisk in a rounded bowl where the flour won't fall off onto the sides. 3/4 teaspoon of salt. And you can use either salt. You can use sea salt, or you can use regular iodized salt. The flavor will change, though, depending on which one you use. And then, of course, 2 teaspoons of double-acting baking powder. I try to do the same thing. I try to sprinkle it all there over and across the top and around, just to make sure it covers. And now for the sugar. I like to keep my sugar in a jar, a closed jar. This one is a ball, and I bought this at a store that had a whole bunch of them. And because I am a part of the tribes and clans and people of the Eagle, whether they be white, European, USA citizen, Native American Indian, this is my jar. So anyway, my sugar I keep in there, just like I keep flour in a jar as well. And as far as putting things together, and which one goes first, etc., you can choose any order you'd like to do that with when you're baking. This particular muffin recipe calls for 1/4 cup of sugar. There we go. Okay, add and whisk. Kind of looks like I'm turning the bowl counterclockwise, and you might think at first that the flour is going counterclockwise, when in fact the whisk is going clockwise. And so are all the ingredients inside the bowl. So if you turn the bowl the opposite direction of your whisking, it actually helps mix them a little bit better. So next is the butter, and 2 to 4 tablespoons, but I just used 2 for mine. You can decide how you like. And you put it into a warm pan, and make sure that the heat is not too strong, because you don't want to scorch your butter. You want it to be just slightly melted, enough to pour it into the mixture. Because this is very thick, I don't mix it with my dries. I mix it with the wet ingredients. So I pour the butter into this. I like to add my eggs separately because I like to look at my eggs before. And what I'm looking for is any kind of anomaly that could be in it. Sometimes you get eggs that have a little bit of growth in it from it starting to turn into a chicken. So you just want to discard those. Some people use them. I don't. I strain those out, use the yolks instead, or just throw them out. These are okay, and so I'm going to use these in my mixture. The next ingredient is 3/4 cup of milk, and you can choose any milk you like. I have a milk that I like to purchase that is local. It's not local, it's actually imported in here from Ireland. And but it is a very refreshing milk, and I like to use it. I use other milks too, but this one's quite nice. I even recycle the bottles. I recycle the bottles. I use them for, because they're plastic, I use them for dried goods like macaroni, beans, peas, lentils, things like that. And then I whisk those ingredients together. I have a larger bowl, so I don't have to turn the bowl while I'm whisking. It works just fine, just like this. Once the liquid is completely mixed together without a lot of clumpage, is that really a word? I don't think so, but anyway, a lot of clumps, you know what I mean. Then it's time to go ahead and turn in or stir in the dried ingredients. And I do this half at a time. I put half in, and then I stir that in. And I use a fork so that the ingredients can go in between the prongs and mix well. You can use a mixer if you'd like, if you have one. It's just as well. Just remember that a mixer will mix it quite greatly, so it's more fine texture when you bake it. If you want more of a little bit of flake, then just use a fork, and it'll, when you break it apart after it's done, it'll be a little bit more flaky rather than a condensed or a denser type of breading. So you just mix that all together so you don't see the white flour anymore. The flour is completely stained with the red from the beet. There we go. And it smells good. You can smell this freshness about it, and that's when you know that this is going to be a good muffin. So we now need to grease the inside of our muffin pan. Okay, now for the pouring, and you pour halfway because it's going to rise on you, maybe a little bit more than half. Okay, and then you put these into an oven, 400 degrees, preheated. And then for 25 minutes, I'm going to start with 20 minutes. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, nice. I think these are ready. Insert a knife and pull it back out and see if it's clean. These are it. Nice. I like it when they turn it up. Yay. Nice. These are going to be really good. Especially with a little bit of butter. Well, you can put icing on it if you want to, but I don't want to on my beet muffins. Alright. Look at that steam, nice and hot. You put a little bit of butter in between and close it and let the butter melt, and it's even more flavorful. It's good, really good. It's really, really hot, so you got to be careful. Little bit of flavor of beet, little bit of sweetness. Nice and soft. Good muffin. The beet is a carcinogen. Therefore, it is a hot plant.